Hello YouTube, this is Coder back with another stream, and today we're going to be working on building a BMI calculator from scratch using Jetpack Compose. And so body mass a BMI calculator is a body mass index calculator where you can enter your weight and you can enter your height, and then it will calculate the number of the body mass index, and pretty much you can take this number and see, if this is a healthy amount, or, well, it basically tells you if you are skinny or overweight, basically. And so, yeah, and it's very popularly searched on Google, but we will be implementing this in Android. And so, yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing today. And so, without further ado, let us get started. And yeah, remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video and do all the YouTubey stuff. And all right, let me go ahead and switch over the camera to our Android Studio. So we're going to need Android Studio for this, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and open it. So let me do that. Just one moment. All right. Okay, so if you haven't already, I encourage you to go ahead and open your Android Studio. And then inside our Android Studio, we're going to go ahead and choose the empty activity with the square in it. So that means it's set up for Compose. And let's go ahead and name this BMI calculator app. And so we're gonna go ahead and hit finish on that. All right. And so now let me go ahead and check the OBS. Okay, we hit finish on that, so it's going ahead and loading our new project. So I'll have to show you guys that, because on the OBS it's still saying finish. So let me go ahead and change that really quick here. So now we're going to go to our BMI calculator app. All right, so here is our new project, and this is what is generated by default, basically. So right now we're waiting on it to load the project here. And let's see. So this is going to be, a brand new project. And so, all right, now it's loaded and everything. And we need to change the code in order to build our calculator. So basically, what I want to do is I want to make a composable that will make up our screen of our BMI calculator. Pretty much to solve this functionality, we really just need one screen. And basically, I'm going to go ahead and make a composable that takes care of that screen. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new. So you're going to go ahead and right click on the package name here. Then you're going to go to new, and then you're going to go to Kotlin class or file. And I'm going to name this file BMI screen. We're going to make this going to hold our composable. So let me go ahead and hit enter on that. And so, yeah, we made a new class called BMI screen right there. And so, yeah, now basically we need to, inside our BMI screen, it's not really going to be like a class. In Jetpack Compose, we usually make our composables into functions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this, and we're going to make a composable instead. And then I'm going to call this function BMI calculator. All right. And then that's going to be the start of our screen. So basically, we have the main activity, and this is just a default of what it comes up with when we play the application. It will say hello Android. So we do not need this. So I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and comment out this code for now. And so, yeah, here basically we have the blank slate, and here is actually where we're going to actually call our BMI screen, which we don't have anything implemented yet, but this, well, I have to have the same name as what I named the composable for this particular functionality. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's go ahead and copy this guy over to the main activity, and we're gonna go ahead and paste that there, the BMI screen. Okay, and so let us see here. Let's see also if we can get a preview going. So instead of this greeting preview, we're going to name this BMI screen preview instead. So this is going to be BMI screen, and then we're going to go ahead and call this guy here as well, so that we can have a preview. And remember, in Jetpack Compose, when you make a preview, that means you should be able to see it. Changes, has any errors or not. Okay. So, what does this say here? BMI calculator app and file BMI screen. .kt public function unit defined in sample dot BMI calculator file main. Overloop public. Okay. So says, so also inside main BMI. Oh, I'm sorry. I duplicated the name for the preview. The preview is actually a separate thing, which is not going to work. So I'm going to rebuild it to see, how that looks. All right. Unresolved reference. Composable. All right. So that means we need the proper. Probably, yeah, we need the proper compose. Here. Let me go ahead and this is a preview version of the Android Studio. In case you're wondering, it's so let me see. So I ran the build yeah, I ran the sync, and now for this guy, seeing if it'll give me the suggestion for the composable here. But anyway, let's see. We need okay. Layout. Dot. Let's see about this one. So inside our BMI, let me try this one. The import dot androidx dot compose dot foundation dot layout. Okay. Alright. Alright. So unresolved reference, composable. Did I spell that correctly here? Let's just make sure that I have all the same imports in this one, so that the composable can be read. Okay, so all right, great. So yeah, you have to make sure you have the correct imports and everything. And so let me go ahead and so I'm in our main activity, and then it's initializing the preview. And go ahead and also delete this guy. And so basically, right now, it should be completely blank because, of course, we don't have anything yet. So, all right, our preview has loaded. So now, let's go back to the BMI screen.kt and get started on this. So, inside this BMI screen function, we will need we will basically need, I'm gonna have a column that consumes, that's gonna pretty much consume or overlap all of the content that we're gonna put in here, because we're gonna, everything's gonna be in like a column arrangement. Sorry about that. So basically, uh, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna say column, and then inside the column there are things that you need here, such as this column is gonna fill the max size of the screen. It's going to be arranged centrally, and the alignment center horizontal. So that's what I'm gonna put here for our column, because our each element is going to be arranged inside that column. And then so with each element arranged inside that column, we're going to have our title. So we're going to start out with a title that's going to say BMI calculator, and it's going to be of 32 font and a weight a font weight of bold. So all right. So that's what we have so far. And then so we have a column, and then inside that column we have the title. This is going to be a text, and then the text equals BMI calculator with the font size of 32SP with the weight of bold. And now we should have something that we can show on the actual screen here. So, all right, let me go ahead and build and refresh this. Usually it helps out with suggesting the imports that we need, but for some reason it's not wanting to suggest them to me right now. But basically we need to find the import for column. Well, let me see. So oh, this has to be capital, not lowercase, when you're using column in Jetpack Compose. So let's refresh that and see what happens here. Alright, I resolve reference because it still has not imported the thing that we need. Okay, so let me retrieve the column import. So for columns, we should have this one, compose foundation layout, and then the column. Then let's go ahead and check it out. I'm gonna go ahead and refresh. Okay, so it's loading. It's all right. All right, so it has indeed loaded our title here in our application, BMI calculator. So great. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna need is so I'm gonna go ahead and put a space below that, the title by using a spacer. So within, the same column, we're going to put a spacer here, which will give us some space between the next element that we're going to put, and it's going to be 16 dp space. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and make a row of, basically, a row of text there are going to be text labels of the weight. And so this isn't where we enter the weight, but this is the labels for the where we're going to enter the weight. So we are creating a row here, and we're setting this to fill max width. The row will fill the width and arrangement center. Then inside here, there's going to be a weight. It's going to say weight, and then we got a space, and then it's either going to say kg or lbs, depending on which one we're in, because in the calculator we can either choose if it's metric or if it is, in imperial units, which is the American units. So we're going to have to keep track of that. So is metric is going to be a boolean that we're also going to declare. And we're going to declare this at the top of our actual composable. So it's going to be is metric. And then basically, if it is metric, then it will display kg. And if not, it will display lbs. So right now, the default value is false. So it should display lbs. So let us go ahead and sample the preview to see if everything's alright. It's loading. Okay, it says the preview has been loaded. Or actually the preview is out of date, so we gotta refresh it. The preview's loading. Alright, so that's the code that we have so far, is the weight and lbs. And now what we need next is, let's go back here, and then so after this row, we're going to add the text field where you can enter the weight. So we made the labels for the weight. Now we're going to have the actual text field where you can enter the weight. So after that, we're going to have this text field, and then basically we are dealing with this variable called wait state. So this is basically what holds and remembers the weight that we entered in memory, so that we're going to hit a submit button later, and it's going to use this variable to calculate the BMI. And so we have this text field here. So value equals wait state dot value dot toString. So when we set the value, it has to be converted to string. On value change, it's basically, it starts out as a double right now, and so a double is as like 0.0. It has the dot like a decimal point, and so this label is going to say wait inside of the actual text field. So now we have this variable here, and we have to declare this variable also, so that we can use it, which will be the wait state. So I'm going to declare the wait state after the boolean. The boolean is metric. So this is going to be a wait state with the default value of 0.0, which is going to be a mutable state of double. So that's essentially why on change is set to this. So basically, now let us go ahead and play that. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at our preview to see if everything is good so far. So let's go back to our main, back to our preview. It says our preview is out of date, and we're going to go ahead and refresh that. Alright, so it's loading. Alright, so great. So it looks like we do indeed have our weight and the label here, and it's a text field where we can enter the value there. So let's see here. Right now, I would like to see, well, let me go ahead and add a spacer after that really quick. It says I'm sorry guys, I mistakenly put this guy inside our row. So that's why it looks kind of weird in preview. Let me go ahead and fix that. So what I meant to do is put this guy outside of our row because so that it won't be all jumbled on the same line as our label. So let me try that again here. Right now it's loading. It says it's out of date. So let's go ahead and update it and see what happens. It's loading right now. All right. So yeah, this is what I was looking for, is the label on top of the actual text field, so that looks a lot neater instead of this all trying to be on the same line. The reason why this weight LBS is positioned horizontal is because it is positioned in a row. And so this is not in the same row, so it's on this line, this next line. All right, perfect. Now, let's move on. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to our BMI screen. And after this guy, we're going to add a spacer, another spacer. All right. And then once we add another spacer, we're going to, well, it's the spacer takes up 16 dp, and then after the spacer, we're going to add the labels for the height. So we're also going to add the labels for the height. So we're going to structure that very similarly to the labels for the weight. So in this, as you can see, in this row, we have our height here, and we have our, so we check if it is metric. If it is metric, then we display a C for centimeters, or we display a foot or and inches for imperial, for the American. So, all right, I'm gonna actually put an M there. This is gonna be centimeters, because for the metric we take it in a format of centimeters. Okay, so we have these things, and so since metric is false, it will display feet and inches. So let us go ahead and check that out in our preview to see if everything's working. So I'm gonna go back to our main, and then it says the preview is out of date, so I'm gonna refresh that. All right, so let's see what it has here. All right, so we have our next label, which is height, and it displays the feet in inches instead of the cm, because right now is metric is set to false. All right, so let us go on. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and display our text field. So this is going to be um, quite a bit of code because we have to adjust a lot of the settings for the text field in order to limit it to numbers only instead of allowing the user to type in other special characters or size numbers, because with the feet and the inches we only require numbers and not any type of special character or anything. So this one is going to be quite a bit of code because we are going to um, not only have the logic to so basically, we're gonna have also two text fields for the feet and inches, because the feet and inches requires, I'm gonna allow the user to enter the feet and then the inches in a separate field so that they, those two things can be clearly be separated. And also, we're going to have to check if the switch for the is metric is on. If the switch is metric, then we're going to have to show one field with centimeters only. So basically, I'm going to show you guys the code of that. So it's quite a bit more code compared to our weight code because it was a bit simpler. So after this label, after the row, inside our BMI screen, after our row, we're going to go ahead. What's this guy? This guy is our column. Okay, and then this guy is our row. And then after our row, we're gonna paste this code. And so this code, if not metric, then do this. So basically, this is making sure that no one can, enter in anything else but a number. And this is also some safeguards against crashing. That um, if it equals the space or equals nothing, then set the value to 0. So the user deleted everything, then it's equals to 0. Uh, and so, yeah. And so with this, it is setting the keyboard settings. So this is the feet one. So this text field right here is the one that takes in the feet. It's going to be a number. And then right here on done, probably don't need this yet. But then we have the label feet. And then also this one is the text field for should be the text field for inches, which I don't have the label for inches. We could probably do it here, because this one has to be inches, because and then here is where else it will just display the text field for centimeters instead of for feet and inches. Alright. So now let us go ahead and go back to our go back to our main activity, and then inside our main activity, let's go ahead and refresh the outdated thing, and now we're getting an error. Unexpected element. For this label, we need this closing bracket here, like so. Alright, so let's go back to our main activity. Let's see how that turned out. Gonna go ahead and refresh that. And oh yeah, so now we need our height feet state, and this is going to be similar to our weight state like before. So this one is going to be keeping track of the height. So let me go ahead and do that. This is going to be the height feet state. And likewise, since inches is separated from feet, we are going to need an inches, also an inches, height inches state, which this is we're gonna keep track of for our inches. And then what else do we need? We also need the height centimeter state for our when it's in metric mode. So we need those guys in order to handle this code below here. So, you know, they have the height centimeter state here when we're dealing with the metric, when metric is on. And we have the height inches state here when, you know, dealing with the inches. Alright, so let's go ahead and run this to make sure everything is good here. So basically we're adding the fields for the feet and inches. Alright, so we have the height, feet, and inches there. So yeah, that's how I wanted it, where, when we zoom in to this, we see that, we can enter the weight and we can enter the feet and inches. So perfect. Now we need to basically we're gonna need to I have a question here in the chat. It says, what's the coding app? We are building a BMI calculator. And so now how long have we been going for? We've been going for 54 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and add the button here. So basically we have our fields here and we have the button that we want to submit, that we need to submit the information. So let me go ahead and implement that here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a spacer before we implement the button, and then on click there's some logic that we're gonna have to implement as well. So gonna go ahead and put the spacer after our text fields here. So after the centimeter, and then after that I'm going to go ahead and implement the button, and so let me go ahead and get that for you guys. And this is going to be the calculate button. And so after that, I'm gonna go ahead and put the button code here. So this is basically the button, and so when the button is hit, it's going to do these calculations. So basically this is how you determine the BMI. So the BMI equals, if it is metric, the weight divided by the height divided by, well, yeah, the weight divided by the height in parentheses divided by 100 divided by the height divided by 100. So those of you in mathematics, you can remember like the order of operations and see how this is set up here. Basically, this is the formula to calculate the body mass index for in centimeters. Now, if we want to calculate it in the actual feet and inches, this is what you need. So it's going to have our weight and our height state. And so our height, we need our height in inches times our our height in feet times 12, and we're going to plus that by the inches. So, and also the weight value has to be multiplied by 703, which is, quite a bit more complicated than the actual doing it with the metric, but that's how it is for the actual feet and inches. So, all right. So let's go ahead and see how our preview is looking so far. And so yeah, you know, we have our button, but we also implemented our logic already inside the on click. And one thing about it is I could probably also put this logic inside its own method so that to kind of separate it from putting it, separate it from the on click. But anyway, let's go ahead and check out the. Let's go to our main activity. And so, all right, so we're in our main activity, and so it's outdated. So we have to refresh that just to make sure. Okay, so BMI state, yeah. So now, since you know we do the calculations, we have to set the overall BMI value, and so we need to initialize the overall BMI value to be able to save the entry to be able to display it on our screen. So let me go ahead and actually do that as well. So let me go ahead and get that value. So it's going to be our BMI state. And then okay, so all right, so yeah, that's our BMI state. It's going to be a mutable state of double, and so let us go ahead and see if that resolves our issue there. So I'm going to go ahead and compile it there. All right, so we have our calculate button here, and so now this is looking pretty good. So we have our title and our weight and height fields, and then we have the calculate. And then, so what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to display the output, and also we're going to need a switch for the turning on metric and switching between metric and imperial, metric and American. And so yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and make this, our first part, and then I'm going to go ahead and return for another stream to continue it. And all right, and so I hope you guys learned something from this so far, and I'm excited to be able to continue it later. But for now, go ahead and study this video. Make sure you follow along and write. Go ahead and type all the code into your own project so that you will have this so far in your own project. And yeah, and then we'll continue this later. And when the project is done or close to dead, I'll go ahead and also post a complete source code to it as well, so that you all will have that in case you have any issues. And so, all right, like, subscribe to the channel, comment on the video, and I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay coding.